What up, 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 what up? Oh my god, we're live? Is it Tuesday already? Oh no, it's Friday! And we're live! Let's go! Alright, we're live on a Friday. What's going on? I mean, we only go live on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Am I right? No, we're going live on a Friday. And why are we going live on a Friday? Great question. Because we're halfway through the Andor show. Now we have to answer this very important question that I'm sure you saw in the thumbnail and on the name of the video. And that is the Andor show good or bad? Now, we can't tell all the way because, again, we're only halfway through the show. But we have enough of an idea to tell if the show is going to be good or bad, I think. At least I think, personally, I think. And the reason that this video is so necessary and the reason I went live today instead of just making a video because I want to bounce off of you guys and see what you guys think on whether or not is this actually good or bad is because of the fact that, look, we're halfway through the show, and again, as Star Wars fans do all the time, the fan base is split right down the middle. And that's how it always works with all of these shows and all these movies and all this everything that happens with Star Wars is we have to completely just tear each other apart. Nothing is ever really good. Nothing is ever really as good as it should be. Everything sucks. That's the casual Star Wars fan, you know? They just have to complain about everything. Nothing's ever good anymore. But with all that being said, episode 6, at least I don't know if it is still now, but episode 6 of the Andor show had a perfect score on Rotten Tomatoes, and 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. Now I know what you're saying, Rotten Tomatoes is the worst. They have no idea what they're talking about, but they got an 100. 100 is an 100. No matter where you're at, 100 is an 100. So, yeah, they got an 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. So, let's go look at this. If it's still 100, I'm going to pull it up right now. Andor episode 6. Rotten Tomatoes. Let me pull it up so you guys can see it. Duh. Wouldn't that be helpful? Doom, 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 doom. There we go. Alright, Andor season 6, episode 6 of season 1. It still has an 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay? Now that's crazy. Okay, there are only 13 critics reviewing it, which is not the greatest, but it's still an 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. You can't. That is something. It is a stat. It is something. An 100 is insanity. I mean, look at Lord of the Rings over here. I think the show is very good. The Rings of Power. It's got an 85. I don't know what these shows are, but they got lower scores. But an 100. We're talking about 100. Let's look at the other episodes. What did episode 5 get? An 100. What? Episode 5 got an 100. Episode 5 got an 100. Alright, Rotten Tomatoes, you're terrible. I just went from episode 6 to, it's 100 because it was goated. Episode 5 was terrible. What are we talking about here? What? This is crazy. This is crazy. Episode 4, 90. I liked episode 4 a lot. 90's good. 92 on episode 3. Episode 3 was good. It was the best of the first 3. 89, that's respectable. It was my least favorite episode. Episode 5. That's my second least episode so far. And a 92 on episode 1. So, wow. That is actually a lot higher than I thought. This Andor show is knocking it out of the park with the ratings right now. Let's look at like IMDb because we know Andor ratings. IMDb. Because they're more like realistic, to say the least. So right now, is this the whole show? The show as a whole right now is an 8.1 out of 10. Now that is that's not bad. That's not bad at all. I mean, 8.1 is probably where I would rank the entire show. But here, episode 6 right now is at a 9.3 out of 10. So again, episode 6 was amazing. It was so good. Let's talk about episode 6 for a second. So episode 6 was amazing. I mean, visually, this show is spectacular. There's no doubt. There's no arguing with that. This whole entire show is visually appealing, or very good. Look at my cup today. So I usually got the Mando cup, right? No, we got this I don't even know. Is this Grogu? Yeah, I think it's supposed to be Grogu. So it's Grogu. And whatever you call that form. Yeah, so episode 6 was spectacular. It was unbelievable. I mean, knocked it out of the park, but still there was some things that I could complain about with that episode. Episode 5, my major complaint about episode 5 was the freaking blue milk cereal looking shrill guy getting roasted by his mom the entire episode. What was the point of that? And then you have episode 6 go as well as it did, and guess who wasn't in the episode? Shrill, the guy with the blue milk and the cereal and his mom roasting him all the time. He wasn't even in the episode. So what are they doing? What are they doing? I mean, you have the best episode. It has 100 on Rotten Tomatoes, but I guess episode 5 does too because they don't know what they're talking about. But episode 6 is 100 on Rotten Tomatoes, and guess who's not there? Your boy, Shrill. Let's look him up again. For those who don't know who I'm talking about, this guy right here. I'm leaving. Look at his cereal bars. So if you guys weren't here on Tuesday, we kind of roasted this guy for a while talking about his cereal bars, because Disney tried to like blow these completely out of proportion and like sell his cereal bars. This guy right here, Shrill, right? And guess who wasn't even in episode 6? That guy with the cereal bars. And guess what episode has an 100 on Rotten Tomatoes? Episode 6. We're talking about like one of the best Star Wars episodes of any Disney Plus show that they have in episode 6 of the Andor show. And guess who wasn't there? Guess who wasn't there? The guy getting roasted by his mom the entire episode. So, honestly, the show, it's all over the place. It's all over the place. Do you like my cup? Yeah, so do I. It is all over the place, but with that being said, it is very good. I think it's very good. With the name of this video being, is it good or bad, I have to say that it is good. And here is why. Episode 1, a good start. He kills those officers, whatever. Good start. Episode 2, iffy. One of the shortest episodes of the show so far. Actually might be the shortest. Let's pull it up. Disney Plus. Might be the shortest episode so far. And one of my least favorites. But, here we go. One of my least favorites, but episode 3 came out with a bang. Remember, the first 3 episodes came out all together, and episode 3 ended it with a humongous bang. So yeah, let's see. Let me share my screen with you. Yeah, so here we go. Episode 1 was when he killed the people. That was 42 minutes. It was great. Episode 2, 38 minutes. So I think that's the shortest. Let's see. Yeah, that's the shortest episode, like, by a lot so far in the season. And it was, again, the worst episode, or second worst episode. Episode 3 was very, very good. I mean, this was, like, what kept people around to watch this show. And then episode 4, Aldani, was also very, very, very good. You got more looks at, that was Luthen's Gallery episode. That was the insane Easter egg episode. Episode 5, I absolutely hated. The further and further I get away from it, the more and more I hate it, honestly, because it just was this filler episode that had no purpose of being there. I just remember after episode 4, I was so hyped for episode 5, and in our prediction live video, we were getting hyped, and then we got episode 5, which was a filler episode, which I get in a 12-episode season, you can have a filler episode, but it came at the worst time, and it really just pissed me off. But then episode 6 came, and I was like, okay, this show is legit. Episode 6 was spectacular, all right? It was so good that I might just go watch it again, and I might just, like, end this live stream right now and go watch it again. Just kidding. But it was so good. I mean, all the scenes with the TIE fighters, the actual, like, eye, the name of the episode was The Eye, but the actual visuals of the eye was spectacular. You watch Rogue One. Watch Rogue One. What goes on in Rogue One? The best visuals in Star Wars that we've seen to date. Even the sequel trilogy, which is most known for its crap story, but visually it's very good. Rogue One even steps it up another notch to where it just visually looks spectacular. You look at The Mandalorian, which looks very good. The Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which looked alright. The Boba Fett show, which looked alright. But then you have the Andor show, which just looks spectacular. I mean, it looks so good that, like, it just blows everything else out of the park. Like, it just looks so unbelievable for a TV show that is a spin-off of a spin-off spin-off. Cassian Andor is a character that never existed in Star Wars until 2017 when Rogue One came out. So, or 16? When did Rogue One come out? 2016? Rogue One. Rogue One came out in 2016. 2016, when Rogue One came out, Cassian Andor was introduced and immediately killed off. So he was not the most important character to Star Wars. It was a spin-off movie to explain how Leia got the plans to the Death Star and why the Death Star was so easy to destroy. Easy to destroy. It was not easy by any means, but there was a gigantic flaw in this huge battle station. So why it was so easy to destroy was because of the fact that it was just had a flaw in it, and it was put there by Galen Erso, Jyn Erso's dad. And that gets all explained in Rogue One in a fantastic way. You also get introduced to Cassian Andor, a side character in a spin-off movie. Then they give the spin-off character of a spin-off movie a spin-off TV show. And that spin-off TV show of the spin-off movie of the spin-off character of the spin-off of the original trilogy, has anybody got a spin-off counter going? Gets his own show. So a lot of people are like, I'm hyped for Mando, I'm hyped for Ahsoka. These are major characters in Star Wars now. But Andor, who the heck is Andor? We know him from Rogue One. He dies in Rogue One. Why would I want to see a prequel to that guy? And then Tony Gilroy comes out with the coolest story he could possibly think of for the origin of this character. It is the beginning of the rebellion. It is literally called the Andor Show, but it might as well just be called Star Wars Rebels live action, because it's not the same cast as Star Wars Rebels, but it is the beginning of the rebellion. That's what this whole show is about. And Tony Gilroy has talked about how season 2 is just going to be leading up into the beginning of Rogue One. So where we see Cassian at the beginning of Rogue One, that's where season 2 of Andor will end. Now season 1 is only in this one time frame. Season 2 is going to go like a 5-year time frame, I think. Oh no. Season 1 is 1 year. Season 2 is 4 years. So it spreads out a little bit. Let me see if I can find where I talked about that. Oh, hang on. What is this? Andor Season 2, important crossover teased by cast. What is this? Should we read this? Let's pull this up and let's read this thing. This is pretty cool. Didn't even know this was a thing. The more you know. So this is on the direct. Andor Season 2's important crossover teased by cast. Andor has been packed with one of the biggest Star Wars assembled casts ever to be put on screen, with characters new and old tagging along for the Rebel adventure. Alright, that's just a synopsis, whatever. We want to know what's going on. Andor Star teases Season 2 team-ups. Team-ups as in like Jedi or some Force-wielding people, per once, please. Prior to the premiere of Andor, the direct exclusively spoke with Srill. Oh my goodness. Srill Karn's character, Kyle Soller. And Mero, this is Lieutenant Mero, or Miro, whatever her name is. Dennis Gao, whatever. Who teased exciting team-ups to come in the Disney Plus series. So these two characters are Imperials, from what we know so far. This is Lieutenant Miro or Mero, and Srill is the guy who makes the cereal, makes the cereal bars. But they both technically work for the Empire. When asked whether many separate storylines of Andor will start to come together going forward, well, yeah, so Andor is a bunch of different storylines. You got Andor's storyline with the rebels on Aldhani, you got Luthen on Coruscant, you got Mon Mothma on Coruscant, you have Lieutenant Mero, and you got Srill's cereal bars. So that's 5 separate storylines right there. Gaw teased, so Mero's character, teased that towards the end of Season 1 and into Season 2, the stories will start to cross paths. Srill says, yes, absolutely. Sure, we'll read this, why not? Us, certainly. And then I think there will be a clever way that Tony has done it. So she said us, certainly. That means, of course, her character and Srill's character will be intertwined because they're both Imperials. The Andor star also discussed whether they considered their morally questionable characters to be villains truly. Shrill's character, Solar, the actor, explained how he considers the Empire official to be a hero of his own struggles. You're telling me that this guy's a hero? I don't want to hear, this guy is not a hero. He makes cereal bars with his mom in his basement. I don't want to hear that this guy's a hero. You're lying to yourself. You are absolutely lying to yourself. So, yeah, we don't want to hear what he has to say. Discussing both Srill and Dyra's character, she noted that both are looking for control and power, and they led to find each other eventually. So we know that he's looking for power because that's literally the power trip of the first 3 episodes is what that guy has. But she is also looking for power. She is trying to get higher up in her rankings within the Empire. So Srill describes both characters as being stuck in the Empire's fascist regime and not really knowing where their place is. So the two of them don't know where their place is. Sure, whatever. Who cares? Sell your cereal bars. Go away from the Empire. Go to Tatooine and sell some cereal bars. Who cares? Teasing the direction of the two Andor characters, she promised that they are heading towards the dark side, but heroically. So they're going to the dark side. Cool, but they're going to do it heroically. Sure, why not? So this is just... Andor has 2 big villains teaming up. They're not big villains. This guy makes cereal bars. Alright, so this article is just talking about the character of Srill and the character of Lieutenant Miro teaming up towards the end of Season 1. And this makes sense because they're the 2 Imperial people. They're the 2 people who are on the Imperial side of things. So it makes sense that they would be the ones that are there. They would be the ones that team up because they are in the Empire. What I want to see is a team up of the rebels. I want to see Andor, Luthen, Mon Mothma, Saw Gerrera all in the room at the same time. That would be epic. I mean, you're talking about Rogue One, but I want to see that beforehand. I want to see the rebels at the beginning where we're talking actual rebel stuff. We're talking real stuff right now. Hang on. Let me pull this up real quick because this was pretty cool. So I made this short yesterday, posted it yesterday. Let me share my screen with you again. Boom, boom. So, live action Thrawn. We're going to go off of Andor for a couple seconds here because we have to talk about this. Star Wars live action Thrawn. Unsurprising actor. Now, this is unsurprising because it is Lars Mikkelsen. Let that sink in. Do you know who Lars Mikkelsen is? Lars Mikkelsen is going to show. Yeah, so Lars Mikkelsen. He voice acted for Thrawn in the animated show Star Wars Rebels. So this is Ezra Bridger. This is Thrawn. This is Ahsoka. She is no Jedi, but she is not. She is also not only the star of her. Okay, so Rosario Dawson, who is live action Ahsoka, is getting her own show. She's on the hunt for Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra Bridger as well. So Ezra Bridger and Thrawn disappeared at the end of Star Wars Rebels. If you haven't seen Star Wars Rebels, go watch Star Wars Rebels. That might be the thing I say most on this channel is if you haven't seen Star Wars Rebels, go watch it right now. But it is a very important thing to watch. You watch The Mandalorian. You have characters like Bo-Katan. You have characters like Ahsoka Tano. You have characters like Ezra Bridger coming. You have Sabine coming. You have Hera Syndulla coming. All these people were from Star Wars Rebels. So please go watch Star Wars Rebels. It is very good. It's 4 seasons. Has Darth Vader, has Palpatine, has the Force, has Jedi, has Sith, has the Empire, has Rebels. It's awesome. Has Saw Gerrera. It has everybody. Bo-Katan, the Mandalorians. It has Ahsoka Tano. It is jam-packed with awesome stuff. But the way it ends, and I'm spoiling it for you, is Ezra and Thrawn. They jettison out into unknown regions. So here's Ezra. He's holding these giant space whales. These are their tentacles around Thrawn, and he takes the ship that they're in into hyperspace, into the unknown regions, and they are never to be seen from again. And that's where we're at with Thrawn and Ezra. They are missing. They're nowhere to be found. So that's the plot of the Ahsoka show. Her and Sabine are going to be looking for Ezra and Thrawn. What they find, we don't know. Ezra was kind of leaning towards the dark side in those later seasons of Rebels, which was very cool. He was working with Darth Maul. Again, Darth Maul was in the show. Go watch Star Wars Rebels. I'm going to go watch it again, honestly. It was that good. But yes, go watch Star Wars Rebels. But with that being said, the Ahsoka show, probably the plot is going to be her and Sabine looking for Ezra and Thrawn. So who's going to play Thrawn? Ezra did get casted. Ezra did get casted as what was his name, chat? What was his name? I made a whole video on it. It was the guy he's in like only one other thing. Let me look it up. Who is playing live action Ezra Bridger? Yeah, this guy. Eman Esfandi. Eman Esfandi. He's literally in like nothing else. He has a small part in I think like that Will Smith movie that came out a little while ago. But yeah, he's literally in nothing. But he looks the part. I mean, come on. He looks exactly like Ezra. Let me pull up a picture. I mean, that's Ezra Bridger right there. But who is going to play Thrawn is the biggest question. It's the biggest question right now as Star Wars fans. Who's going to play Thrawn? Actually, no, that's not the biggest question. Is when the hell's the next Star Wars movie? No. So, who's going to play Thrawn? So, this is all rumors. Just rumors. The latest casting rumor, it's a rumor, this is not confirmed. I'm not confirming anything for you guys, but it's a rumor. Is that Lars Mikkelsen has been cast as Grand Admiral Thrawn. So, Lars Mikkelsen, who is that? Lars Mikkelsen provided the voice for Grand Admiral Thrawn in Star Wars Rebels and is an established actor himself. This is Lars himself. I mean, look at him. He looks like Thrawn, but he also voices Thrawn, which means he knows the character. He's already played the character before. He knows how the character acts. He knows how the character feels. He knows the character. If you watch the Kenobi show, they casted, what's-his-face as the Grand Inquisitor. Can't think of his name right now. Chat, tell me in the chat. Grand Inquisitor. They casted that guy. And he didn't do a terrible job. The Grand Inquisitor was barely in the show. But why wouldn't they? The guy didn't even watch Star Wars Rebels, which was crazy. He literally said he avoided it on purpose. That is a character that's already been played. It's already been a character. So why wouldn't you want to learn exactly how that character acts, moves, and feels and portray that character in the same way? With Lars playing Thrawn, he already knows how that character acts, portrays, and feels, so he can portray the character in a very good way. So that's why it's very cool that, again, still a rumor, but Lars Mikkelsen could be playing live-action Thrawn. And again, of course, doesn't hurt that he looks like Thrawn. So, yeah, it talks about the confirmed casting. Eman Esfandi, we just talked about, cast as Ezra Bridger. Also, Natalie something was confirmed as Sabine like 8 months ago, a long time ago. So, Hera's role. Who dis? They're saying that they might have casted Hera. Mary Elizabeth Winstead joins the cast. When was this? January. Oh, it doesn't say that she's going to be Hera, but it's implied that she might play Hera. So keep that in mind. But if Mikkelsen is in fact playing Thrawn, it wouldn't surprise if fans receive official confirmation of the news, especially if Season 3 of The Mandalorian is to take any part in setting up the Ahsoka show. So I honestly think that maybe it's possible, let me go full screen again, it is possible that the Ahsoka show comes out, or it is confirmed that the Ahsoka show comes out after The Mandalorian Season 3. So it is possible that we do see Ahsoka again in The Mandalorian, or we see Thrawn, or we see Ezra. There's a very high possibility that we see some of these characters in The Mandalorian Season 3 before the Ahsoka show comes out. It's highly likely. So, how The Mandalorian is going to work. We got the Mandalorian Season 3 trailer. It looks like they're going back to Mandalore. It's going to be a fight for the throne between the way that the trailer is setting it up is a fight between Bo-Katan and Din Djarin for the Mandalorian throne. Now, Mandalore has been turned to glass by the Empire, from what we've been explained at least, and what we saw in the trailer. It looked pretty broken. But that doesn't mean that they don't want the throne still. And Mando has to go to the caves underneath to become a Mandalorian again. It's a whole thing. You've watched the Book of Boba Fett. You would know that he took off his helmet, so he has to whatever. Yeah. That's the plot of The Mandalorian Season 3. Now, does that have any wiggle room to provide an Ahsoka Tano appearance? I don't know. But I'm kind of hoping, because Ahsoka in The Mandalorian is where it's at, and that's what should happen. Let's go back to the Andor show. So that's just the Thrawn live action possible rumor of Lars Mikkelsen. Oh, one last thing on that. Lars Mikkelsen, if you guys weren't here on Tuesday, Lars Mikkelsen, his brother, is the guy who played Galen Erso. Galen Erso, father to Jen Erso in Rogue One. The man, the myth, the legend himself, the guy who created the Death Star, Jalen Erso. He made the Death Star himself. He's the guy. He is the guy. The guy who... they're not brothers in Star Wars. Obviously, Thrawn is not brothers to Galen Erso. But the guy who plays Galen Erso, I think his name is Mads Mikkelsen. Oops. What the heck's going on here? Mads and Lars. Some great names, by the way, by their parents. Mads and Lars Mikkelsen. They're brothers. And now they're both going to be portraying Star Wars characters. Hype. Yeah, so that's going to be fun. A live-action Thrawn is going to be very exciting. I mean, Thrawn is one of my favorite characters in Star Wars, and of course he's only been in Star Wars Rebels so far. But if you've read Heir to the Empire, which is now Legends books, but it was supposed to be what happens after episode 6, that's what they're going to be bringing out in the Mandalorian's timeline. It's going to be the Heir to the Empire storyline. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and we're going to get to see a live-action Thrawn and a live-action Ezra. Live-action Ezra is going to be awesome. A lot of people's favorite character is Ezra. A lot of Rebels fans love Ezra Bridger because he has a dark side to him. Who doesn't like a dark side wielding Jedi? I mean, come on. Back to Andor. When we're talking about Andor, we're halfway done. It's insane. I mean, we're on episode 6 and we're only halfway done. The Mandalorian goes 8 episodes usually, so we would already almost be done talking about the finale already. But no, we're talking about halfway through. Is this show good or bad? And honestly, I have to say, it is good. It is absolutely good. And if you guys disagree, tell me in the comments. But I think it's good. I think it's very good. Other than episode 5, which I absolutely hated, and I will say it publicly, and I'll say it again. Cereal bars? Really? Star Wars? Really? We're not talking about that. We're talking about something good. Episode 6 was fantastic. Episode 4 was fantastic. Episode 3 was very, very good. Episode 1 was a great start. We're talking about a good show. We're talking about a good show. You look at the Book of Boba Fett, they got a lot of crap. It was because all the flashback stuff with the Tusken Raiders, it was a completely different Boba Fett character from the one that we know in the original trilogy. And it makes sense. He went through something crazy traumatic. He literally almost got destroyed, digested in the Sarlacc pit, but he survived. He got beaten up by Tusken Raiders. He went through a whole lot of stuff, which made him a changed man. Just not a lot of Star Wars fans wanted to hear that. Not a lot of Star Wars fans wanted to see a arc for that character. A lot of Star Wars fans saw Boba Fett have 2 lines in the original trilogy and be like, this guy's the greatest! He can never do anything wrong! And then when they changed him in Book of Boba Fett, they lost their minds. They absolutely lost their minds. But that's okay, because Mando came and saved the day. Mando doesn't have to come and save the day. I posted this on my Instagram at A Guy Who Loves Star Wars, where I said it was Mando holding Grogu on his jetpack, and it was Mando on his way to turn Andor into Mando season 1.8, or Mando season 0.8, because the joke was that The Mandalorian made Book of Boba Fett Mando season 2.5, and they're not wrong. That's what happened. It's what happened. But the Andor show doesn't need that help. It doesn't need a support from a Cal Kestis showing up. For shows like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, I'd sit here and I'd go, cameos. Could Cal Kestis show up? Could anybody show up? Ahsoka Tano. Same thing with the Book of Boba Fett. Could these characters show up? Could Cal Kestis show up? I've been saying, could Cal Kestis show up for all these shows for years now. But I'm sitting here watching the Andor show, and I'm not saying Cameo Fest. I'm not saying let's bring Cal Kestis in. I'm not saying let's see Obi-Wan Kenobi, which I honestly should be. Those characters should be showing up. You should see at least a Darth Vader or Palpatine, but I'm not sitting here saying that this show needs those things to survive. This show is surviving perfectly fine on its own, which is a very good thing. So yes, this show is good. And I'm going to leave you with that, with the fact that it is good, because I have to go eat something. I am literally starving to death right now. I haven't eaten anything all day. I don't know why I did this to myself, because I knew I was going live and I should have eaten something, but I didn't. So I'm going to go eat something, and I'm going to get on out of here. I'm going to have a video either later today or tomorrow. So look out for that. So hopefully this show keeps getting even better, because come on, this show is good. You can't tell me it's not good. If you think this show isn't good, please explain to me in the comments, because I don't get it. I don't get it. What do you guys not like? The cereal bars? Because I certainly roasted those enough. But even without the cereal bars and that episode 5, this show is still fantastic. So, I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments, do your own thing. Hit that subscribe. Of course, smash like. Duh. If you haven't done that already, what are you doing? But, you know the deal. If you want to see me in your pretty, in my pretty face in your recommended feed, don't forget to hit that subscribe. We're always live every Tuesday at 4 p.m. to do prediction videos. Maybe I was trying to do something today where, like, maybe we'll start doing some Friday, like, end of the week recap of all the news that happened, live streams, but I don't know. Maybe we'll do it, maybe we won't. I make the videos on the news anyway, so we'll see where we're at. But obviously, every Tuesday at 4 p.m. we're going live for predictions. Every Wednesday, we'll have breakdowns for the episodes. A lot of fun stuff. So, yeah, you know the deal. Hit subscribe. Hit the bell. May the force be with you always. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.